G'day guys, it's Kev here from Kev's Collectibles, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm currently off-world at the moment here in Tatooine, not too far from Mos Eisley. The weather's really nice here. It's 130 degrees Fahrenheit with the odd dust storm. Just between you and me, I'm actually on a date at the moment with a female Tusken Raider. She's quite flirty actually. She's tied a rope around my neck and attached it to a stake in the ground. And she's beaten me with her gaffy stick a few times. And for the last hour she's made me dig up these things called black melons, which contain water inside them. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the cultural experience. Anyway, another sandstorm is approaching, so I'm going to have to make my way back to the hotel and get cleaned up. So I'll see you soon with my latest haul. So the first thing I want to talk about is the mysterious biker girl that appeared in a recent Book of Boba Fett trailer. Her appearance created a bit of a stir in the Star Wars community as to who she may be. In my opinion, there are three possibilities. The first is that it's Arden Lyn, who is a Dark Jedi martial artist. Star Wars Theory, who's a very popular YouTuber, recently posted a video speculating that this is who he thinks this particular character is. I've actually included a link to his video in my video description below if you want to check that out. But the reason why he thinks it's Arden Lyn is because of her cybernetic arm. So Arden Lyn is actually a very old Star Wars Legends character. She's actually 25,000 years old, and she went into this force trance all those years ago using a very ancient force talisman. Now, many years later, she was awakened in her tomb by the Emperor's three Inquisitors. She ended up having a massive duel with the three of them, killed one, and in the process lost her arm and was ultimately defeated. But because of her impressive fighting skills, the Emperor and the Inquisitors thought that she would become a valuable asset to them, so the Emperor ended up making her one of his personal assassins or hands. And he gave her a new robotic or cybernetic arm, which was actually from a battle droid. Now, she's a master of the Dark Jedi martial art called Teras Kasi, which is translated to Steel Hand. Now, there's actually an old Star Wars game from 1997 called Masters of Teras Kasi. And I'm going to play you a few clips which shows you her fighting ability. So yeah, check this out.
Arden Lyn versus Boba Fett. You win. Arden Lyn versus Chewbacca.
Now, the bad news is that there actually is no comic book appearance of Arden Lyn, but there is a Star Wars Insider magazine book which is considered her first appearance, which is Star Wars Insider number 36 from 1998. And in that magazine there's an article which talks about the Masters of Teras Kasi game, and it has several pictures of her in there. So I've actually bought myself a couple copies, and if this does end up being Arden Lyn in the Book of Boba Fett, I'm sure there's going to be a bit of interest there. So you can actually pick this magazine up for pretty cheap, under $10 US at the moment. So something to look out for potentially. The second possibility is that this is actually Ailyn Vel, who is Boba Fett's daughter. Now, her first appearance is in Star Wars Tales number 7, where she appears as a baby in hologram form. Now, the other important book to look out for is from the Star Wars Blood Ties series from 2012. And number 2 in the series is actually considered her first full appearance, although I may actually argue that number 3 is. But my advice anyway is to pick up both number 2 and number 3 if you really want to spec for this particular character. And obviously the third option or possibility is that this could be a completely random new character, potentially a street kid that's part of one of the crime syndicates, and Boba Fett might end up having a sort of like a father-daughter type of relationship with her. And the other big news in the Book of Boba Fett show is the appearance of Black Chrysanthemum, who is a Wookiee bounty hunter who was employed by Jabba the Hutt and also works alongside Dr. Aphra in the past. Now, his first appearance is in Star Wars Darth Vader number 1, volume 1 from 2015. And what's really cool is if you look closely in the trailer, he actually has a scar over his left eye. Now, that particular scar was given to him by the one and only Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is a really cool link with the up-and-coming Obi-Wan Kenobi show, or a nod towards it. And in the past, Obi-Wan Kenobi was being hunted by Black Chrysanthemum, and he basically slashed his left eye with his lightsaber. Now, it would be absolutely amazing if we got to see a flashback of this fight. It probably won't happen, but it would be pretty awesome. But the comic book that you really want to look out for, which actually shows how he got this scar, is Star Wars number 20 from 2016. So you should try and grab that book if you can. Okay, now we're moving on to the main haul, guys. So the first book I want to show you is Star Wars 81 from 2007. This is actually a reprint of the original 1984 comic, and this particular variant comes from the Hasbro Star Wars comic pack, which came with 2 figurines, one which is a Boba Fett and the other one an RA-7 droid. Now, I've actually shown the 1984 comic version in a past video, number 13, comic haul number 13 video, and I mentioned in that video that that the scene where Boba Fett escapes from the Sarlacc pit could be borrowed from this particular comic, and it pretty much they gave a nod to this comic, let's put it that way, and parts of that scene definitely played out. So let me show you that. So here we've got Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit. It would have been nice to have seen him in there a bit longer, to be honest. Like how, for example, you only saw one stormtrooper in there. It would have been pretty cool to see other creatures in there that were being digested, but that's cool. As you can see, he's kind of like lying in the sand there, but obviously he actually burnt his way out, so to speak, or dug his way out as well. So they've kind of shown that, and over here this played out pretty much exactly like in the episode where the Jawas basically scavenged his gear, but in the comic book they kind of like mistaken him for an actual droid and load him up into the sandcrawler. But it's pretty cool that they acknowledged this comic book, and so yeah, this is a pretty cool comic to own because of that reason. The next comic book I want to show you is Shadows of the Empire Special number 1, part 1 from May 1996. Now this is actually a comic book that came from a Kenner comic pack that also came with 2 figurines, one which is Darth Vader and the other being the first appearance of Prince Shizor, and that's the significance of this particular book. So now Prince Shizor is actually rumoured or speculated to maybe appear in the Book of Boba Fett show. Whether that eventuates, we don't know. But anyway, if he does appear, then this is definitely one of the books to get. Now, this is actually a reprint of Shadows of the Empire #1, but they both came out in May 1996. So it's still the first appearance of Prince Shizor. Now, I'll show you where he appears for the first time in the book. Now, he's over here. He's a very interesting character. And here he is here, as you can see. That's his first appearance. Now, Prince Shizor is a very interesting character. He's the leader of a very powerful crime syndicate called the Black Sun, and has links with the Emperor and also Vader, who doesn't like him very much. Now, he has a very interesting ability, which is to excrete pheromones, which he does to try and coerce people to bend to his will. And he actually did this to Princess Leia in order to seduce her. But anyway, he's a pretty major player in Legends, and the cool thing is that he was recently introduced back into canon in the recent Crimson Reign #1 comic book. So Kira, who is also rumored to be on the Boba Fett show soon, who is played by Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones fame. She sort of dropped his name in that particular comic, so he's back in canon now, and that's why there's a lot of speculation that we may see him. So yeah, he's a very powerful character in Legends, and he's right up there in terms of influence in the Star Wars universe, up there with Palpatine. Yeah, if he does appear, then this book may be pretty popular. So you can actually get this for under $20. The Shadows of the Empire #1 is kind of more popular, but still, look, it's a great book to get, and yeah, you should keep your eye out for that one. The next book I want to talk about is Shadows of the Empire #2. Now, I love this book really because of the cover, to be honest. It's got Boba Fett on there, and he's surrounded by all the various bounty hunters which are trying to hunt him down. Basically, the story behind this is that Boba Fett is transporting Han Solo, who's in the Carbonite, to Jabba's palace, and all the bounty hunters are trying to take that off him so they can claim the bounty. But anyway, the significance of this book is it's actually the second appearance of Prince Shizor. But in particular, the reason why I'm showing this book is that it's the first full appearance of a character called Dash Rendar, and he's rumored to potentially make an appearance on the Book of Boba Fett show. Now, I'll show you where he first appears. Now, Dash Rendar is actually there he is right there. So he's kind of like a Han Solo kind of character. He's a bit of a ladies' man, and he's a hotshot fighter pilot, a smuggler and a mercenary as well. And the only difference to Han is he's a little bit sort of like cocky and in your face, but he's an interesting character because he has a huge chip on his shoulder when it comes to Prince Shizor, who I just talked about. So Prince Shizor actually sabotaged his brother's ship, which ended up crashing and killing him. And the ship unfortunately actually crashed into the Imperial Museum in Coruscant. And because of that incident, Palpatine, or the Emperor, effectively exiled his entire family, which were quite wealthy, from the core worlds, and basically ruined their reputation and their business. And there's a lot of rumors actually floating around that Chris Pratt might actually play him. I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows. But still, this is a great book to get, considering, Prince Shizor's second appearance and it's also an awesome cover as well. So yeah, keep your eye out for this book. Now the next book I want to talk about is Star Wars number 55, the Galactic Icons Cad Bane variant. I absolutely love this cover. Now this comic, in my opinion, is the best looking Cad Bane cover. He's obviously, well, the blue Duros skin color and his red eyes really pop on this cover. It's definitely increased in value and popularity recently, and the reason for that is basically, as you know, Boba Fett has a huge dent on his helmet, and when the Clone Wars animated series was being made, there was actually an episode in the works which showed a very young Boba Fett having a Western type showdown with Cad Bane, and Cad Bane actually shot Boba Fett in the head while he was wearing that helmet and caused that actual dent. But Boba Fett actually ended up killing Cad Bane, spoiler alert. But the episode was never screened. There was obviously funding issues at the time and they cancelled the show, but it never eventuated. So I believe this is the best looking cover out of all the Cad Bane's covers. Anyway, this one will definitely heat up if Cad Bane appears in a flashback. So obviously we might see Boba Fett in his bacta tank while he's recovering have a flashback to this incident when he was younger, and basically fill in the gap as to how he got the dent in his helmet. So yeah, and the thing is Cad Bane is like was created by Dave Filoni, and this is one of his babies. So I think we're definitely going to see Cad Bane, and obviously he's also appeared in the Bad Batch show. So yeah, this is a book to keep an eye out for. And finally, those of you who follow me on Instagram, this is no surprise. I'm absolutely stoked to own this particular variant. So this is Star Wars The Clone Wars #1 from 2008, but the thing that makes this special is that it's actually a newsstand variant, and as you can see it says Star Wars Universe on the barcode there, and the standard copy actually has direct on the barcode there. But I've kind of run the numbers. So according to Comicron.com website, the total print run of Clone Wars 1 was 26,591 copies, and the newsstand copies that were printed during this time were in the order of about 2 to 5%. So if you run the numbers, that means there's only really between 531 to 1,329 copies in existence of this particular book. So so I'm really stoked to own this now. That means I now own every single variant. So there's obviously the standard version, there's the newsstand, there's obviously the Dark Horse 100 variant, which I've shown in my several of my videos, and obviously there's the Abdu Publishing hardcover book as well, which is a bit smaller in size, but that goes for $100 or less on eBay. So it's still a popular book. So I have the it's not the trifecta, I don't know what you would call is it the quinella of the Clone Wars 1 books. So I'm pretty stoked to have those now. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. As you can tell, I've been learning some editing skills, new editing software, so I'm trying to incorporate more of that into my videos for this year. I'll catch you guys in my next video, and take it easy and have a good one. Bye.